ingredients you're going to need for your Hakka noodles, and how colourful does it look? It's so beautiful. We've got a ton of different rainbow colours going on here, and let me just start by talking through the noodles. So we have our noodles here. These are just thin wheat flour noodles, also called Hakka noodles. Sometimes on the packaging they say they're eggless noodles, and they are. However, you can use any kind of noodle that you want for this dish. It doesn't specifically have to be wheat flour. If you have a gluten intolerance, you can by all means use rice noodles or even mung bean noodles. I've even tried these with the soy noodles, the soy edamame noodles and the black bean noodles, and they all work really well if you're looking for something a bit more adapted to your own kind of needs. But these are perfect for what I need them for today, so we're going to go ahead and use these thin wheat flour Hakka noodles. So let's start off by talking about our vegetables. Now we have a big plate of veggies here, and the great thing about this recipe is that it's so versatile. You can use absolutely anything that you have in the fridge, and these are just some of the things that I like to use. So I start off with loads of garlic, because who doesn't love noodles with loads of garlic? You can reduce the amount of garlic if you want to, but I really love them with a ton of garlic, chili and spring onion. And as you can see, I've divided up the spring onions into their white parts and the green parts, and these we're going to add right at the beginning so that they cook down a little bit, and we're going to garnish the dish with the green parts of the spring onions. So keep them separate for now, and then we can use them and add them in the stages that we want to. I also have some baby corn here that I've just cut up into quarters lengthways so that they're nice and thin. I have some red pepper, some green pepper and some carrots here, and Bodhi would never forgive me if I didn't put all of these carrots in. He loves it with loads of carrots. You can of course reduce the amount of carrots if you're not quite the Bugs Bunny that he is. And I also have another plate of greens here. So I've got some Chinese leaf cabbage and some bok choy here, which I've just cut up kind of roughly into chunks, and that's how I like it. I like it to have a bit of crunch as well. So these are going to provide that really lovely welcome crunch to this dish. Now seasonings wise, there's not a whole lot going on. As you can see, it's not my usual kind of array of spices. It's just some things that are going to help bring out those lovely flavours of these veggies. And we're going to start off with some oil, which I have here. You can use any kind of oil with a high smoke point. I use rapeseed. You can use sunflower, vegetable, canola, grapeseed, whatever you want. That's totally your choice. And then we're also going to add some soy sauce. This is just light soy sauce. You can use dark soy sauce if you want, but just be aware that that will alter the color of the final noodles. Obviously dark soy sauce meaning that they will be a lot darker in their appearance. So just adjust that according to your taste and use whatever you've got. It really doesn't matter overall flavor wise. And I have a little bit of white pepper here, and this is just regular ground white pepper. You can also use black pepper if you want. And I've just got some turmeric here. This is just ground turmeric, which I add to the water while the noodles are boiling, and it just gives them a really nice egg yellow colour. You don't have to if you don't want to, but I like to do that. Dun dun dun. Okay, this is a bit controversial. I like to add a bit of MSG to my Hakka noodles, and I know some of you are going to be absolutely outraged and sliding into my DMs about how I shouldn't be using MSG because it's bad for my health and this and that. I have done my research on MSG and I'm cool with it. However, if you don't want to use it, that's absolutely fine. It really doesn't make a huge amount of difference to the finish of the dish, but I find that adding it gives the dish a kind of overall lovely umami flavour, which I really crave when I'm eating Indo-Chinese style food. So make up your own mind. It's cool either way. You don't have to add it if you don't want to. It's just something that I like to add. So I have my wok going here, and it's just filled with lots and lots of boiling water. It's just about to come to the boil, and before it does, I'm just going to go ahead and add my turmeric. And as you know, that turmeric is going to give these noodles a lovely kind of egg yellow color you get from using egg noodles. And I've just put a little bit of salt in there as well, and that's just gonna flavor the water just a little bit. And then we're gonna go ahead and start boiling these noodles as soon as this water comes to the boil. Okay, so my water is boiling now, and it's roll boiling, and that's important that it's really kind of roaring through there like that, so that when we pop our noodles in, which is what I'm about to do now, the noodles actually move around in the water and aren't really kind of just sitting there. You want them to kind of move around and for the water to kind of do their thing and keep them separate so that they don't stick together, and that's really important. So cook these according to the package directions of your noodles. However, if you can, try to underboil them by about 2 minutes so that they're about 80% cooked. And what that will do in turn is make sure that they're nice and firm so that when we stir fry them later, they don't turn into like a big pile of mush. So I have boiled these to about 80% so that they're still nice and firm. Now I'm going to go ahead and drain them in a colander, and then we're going to rinse them under cold water, and that is a super important step. So as you can see, my noodles are still super hot and in my colander. What I'm going to do is just wash them under cold running water, and what that does is removes any excess starch. It completely stops the cooking process as well. So because they're still super hot, we want them to stay like that 80% cooked. If we leave them to kind of sit there in their own steam, they'll continue cooking and therefore end up super mushy and sticky when you come around to using them. So when we are doing this, just keep giving them a toss and make sure that you're kind of removing all of that excess kind of starch and heat from there. Now I know these look super orange / red, but it's just my kitchen lights. They aren't really this orange in real life, I promise you. I'll try and show you in the light in a minute, but we're just gonna add a little bit of oil to these now, and this is gonna stop them from sticking together. You only need a little bit, not loads, and then just give them a little stir so that they are nice and separate for when you are going to add them to the wok. You don't want them to clump together, and this is what's going to stop that process from happening. I'm then going to go ahead and add my garlic and the spring onion, the white parts of the spring onion, and my chilies. Stir fry that really quickly, super hot. And then I'm going to go ahead and throw my green peppers in there along with a rogue carrot. Take that out and just stir fry all of this. And I love that flavour that you get from the green peppers, garlic, onions and chilies cooking together. Really savoury and delicious. And just saute this over a really high heat. Now we're going to go ahead and add our red peppers and carrots and our baby corn. And just cook this really rapidly. So it'll take a couple of minutes for everything to kind of soften nicely. You don't need to add anything at this stage, just keep it moving. So next, the bok choy and the Chinese cabbage is going to go in. And we've got some other bits of the cabbage, and just mix it all in so it's really well incorporated. And it's okay if some of it kind of catches and burns on the base of the pan. That's just going to give it a really lovely smoky flavour that you get in restaurants and your favourite Chinese takeaways. See, you can do it at home. So while this is cooking, I'm just going to add in my vinegar and a little bit of light soy sauce. And then if you remember, we've got our white pepper, salt, MSG, and a little bit of brown sugar here. And I'm just gonna tip all of that in and just pop your noodles in. Separate them with your hands a little bit and just toss them in as well. And this smells so good, and the colours look amazing next to those kind of orangey noodles. Give it all a really good mix. And we are pretty much done. We're just going to garnish this with a little bit of chopped spring onion and then plate it up, and you are ready to serve. And can we just talk very quickly about the magic that has just taken place here? You remember those orange noodles that I showed you with the turmeric, and you thought, well, that's not going to look great, it doesn't look like Hakka noodles. Well, after a little bit of stir frying over a high heat, these noodles are starting to change colour. And they are now taking on that gorgeous kind of egg yellow colour that you know so well from your favourite restaurants. And as if by magic, you've got some restaurant style Hakka noodles on the table in less than half an hour. How great is that?